A great contribution. It's an important debate, one of the most important debates in the country, and it's tragic that your contribution is shouted down as Islamophobic by the Imams Council and Ali, because as a country we need to get on top of this stuff. Look, there's increased security at Jewish schools in Australia today, armed guards, of course, at synagogues, schools, childcare centres. We've become used to this in this country. It's tragic. It's a dark stain on our nation. I've shown my viewers earlier tonight that there are bollards now outside synagogues so that they're presumably so cars can't be rammed onto footpaths as Jewish people attend their synagogues. Does this all point to the fact that we can expect more terror attacks in this country?
Well, of course, I hope not, and I pray that's not the case. But, unless we can deal with the increase that we've seen in anti-Semitism since October 7. Now, anti-Semitism has been around for centuries. That is true. But there is a clear demarcation line when you look at the figures from October 7. After October 7, five-fold increase on the 10 years average before that. In fact, there were more incidents that were recorded by the Executive Council of Australian Jewry in those 2 years alone than there was in the previous 11. So, they're just the facts. And that requires us to, if not now, when? Now, I don't want there to be any sense of blame against the Islamic community at all. But what I do want is for religious leaders to be part of the solution here and to be able to protect, their own people in their own faith from that radicalisation being present.
Scott Morrison, as a former Liberal Prime Minister, I have to ask you must despair about the state of the party, being outpolled now by One Nation, not even getting a first preference in the polls of 20%, below 20%. What can the Liberal Party do to turn it around, and can it be done without a leadership change?
Well, leadership's a matter for the party room. And as a former leader, I always respect whatever the party room decides. I'm not a member of it anymore. And when I was the leader, I expected that from other leaders who'd preceded me and largely got that. And so I'm going to pay the same courtesy to those who are here now and to Susan. I mean, it's a challenging period for the party. I think there's no doubt about that. And they've got to work through these issues and be able to put forward a platform, particularly on the economy, which gives people that hope and that confidence that the party is a party of government. That's what we've always been. That's what we were built for. But you make the point about One Nation. And look, yes, they are attracting a lot of support. Maybe that's out of grievance, frustration, any number of things they're identifying with. But, when a party starts to be attracting those sort of polling numbers, then I think people have a right to ask, OK, well, what are their policies? What's their policy on taxation? What's their policy on immigration? They say, well, want to cut it? Well, where? Which programs? And what are the implications of that? They say they want to do something about the NDIS. OK, what? Which areas are you going to pull back on? And how are you going to, how's that going to be worked out? How's that going to get through the parliament? I think I don't raise those issues necessarily to draw criticism, but I think, parties who pretend to be parties of government have got to have answers to those sorts of questions.
Scott Morrison, thanks so much for joining us again.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Thanks for the time.